Hello and welcome to the British Chamber of Commerce Singapore's podcast channel. We're thrilled to present in-depth discussions on business, global affairs and news across Singapore, ASEAN and the United Kingdom. Thank you for your continued support and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Thank you for joining us for today's BritCham podcast brought to you from Westbourne College. We're following up on the Sustainability Dialogue, which was held last September in 2024. It was a huge success. We heard from multiple different speakers, ranging from sustainable finance to construction to constructive ideas and innovations. Those of you that were in person will have noticed that we had students there from Westbourne College. And I'm happy to say that I'm joined with two of those students who took part and were involved in the event with me today. We're going to delve into and find out a little bit more about their experience, what they learned from the event, and their thoughts on sustainability in general throughout this podcast. So I'm delighted to welcome Manan and Andre. Thanks for having us here at Westbourne College. Massive thanks, because I know that you're in the middle of exam season as well. So thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Andre, I know in particular you've got an exam tomorrow, so special thanks for that. Just like to kick off, coming to you first, Manan, if you could just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you're studying here at Westbourne College, and any ambitions you've got around university and into the future as well to kick things off.
Okay, so I'm Manan and Agarwal. I'm studying the IB diploma program and I'm in my last year, 1 month away from finals. I specialize in business, math and economics currently in Westbourne, and for uni I want to go to either Hong Kong or Australia.
Incredible. Thanks for that introduction. Andre as well, same to you.
My name is Andre. Yeah. I study here also at Westbourne. My main three subjects are computer science, math, and business. My plans for universities are particularly Singapore and maybe in Hong Kong, NUS, SMU, NTU, HQ, and HQST. It's like my 5 main priorities to go. Yep.
Very exciting few months for you coming up as well then. So excited to see how that goes. Delving into the Sustainability Dialogue, if we can take your minds back to September of last year, you were involved in the different topics. Do you want to just give us a little introduction, tell us what your involvement was, how you were involved, and then just a little bit about what you learned from the dialogue itself?
Okay, so we attended the Sustainability Dialogue as just participants, and we were there to take notes on the different speakers and the kind of strategies or innovations that they were implementing for making their businesses more sustainable and reducing carbon emissions, and adhering to the new regulations and laws that countries are implementing specifically for business ethics and how they should be responding to the changing environment. And after taking notes, we basically had to send that to the British Chamber. So that was basically our role in this event.
Incredibly important as well. I think taking all of those conversations that you've said, right, there was such a variety of topics going on, and really, I think pulling that together was so important. So yeah, played a key role in that. Andre, how did you find the experience and what was it like for you?
I think it was interesting, and I got a few ideas that I didn't know about before the start of that particular event. For example, greenwashing. I didn't know anything about that term, and I realized that many companies use unrealistic news about their companies, what they do, and they want to show just the bright side, that they are environmentally friendly, but in reality they are not. So this particular idea was something that I most remember from that Sustainability Dialogue.
Incredible. I love that stood out for you as well. I think it's such a hot topic at the moment where companies are maybe being pulled up on their marketing schemes around sustainability and how we keep it authentic. So yeah, really important topic. What about you, Manan? Was there anything in particular that stood out, anything really memorable that you've taken away and looked back on?
So there were 2 things. One of them was, again, what Andre talked about. It was the greenwashing and green hushing topic by Susie Golding, who talked about how businesses are being accused of falsely claiming to practicing like their ethics and CSR and like sustainability, but it's not true. And also like the smart city planning and like green urbanization talk upstairs, I think. I really like the idea that there's construction going around to like reduce carbon emissions and also build cities in a way that it's kind of like cooling the environment rather than trapping heat to avoid the problem of like global warming and like climate change. I think that's really innovative.
Yeah. And I mean, you got involved in some incredible topics there, and the whole spectrum of events from construction through to like policies and thinking about things. So that's great. Is there anything that you'd say you've taken away from that event, or anything that you've taken into the community side of things and maybe brought to the community here at Westbourne College?
I think it's mostly like the little things that always count. Like for example, our school, I mean, after kind of attending the event, I personally found myself paying more attention to like the materials I was using. Like our school mostly uses like ceramic cups or like paper plates. Plastic is like reduced, and in this entire building after 6 p.m. like electricity is turned off, so that, you know, we're kind of also promoting sustainability.
Yeah. And I think these conversations and attending things like the sustainability dialogue can help to build that experience. How about you, Andre? Anything you've taken away, or things that resonated with you that you've taken into life, studies, anything beyond that?
I think like one of the ideas that were brought during the discussion, during the dialogue, was that UK-Singapore agreement that until 2050, 2050, they're going to become net zero, maybe even 2030, and they'll try to make more electric cars on the roads in Singapore, reducing emissions, and other various initiatives to make our Earth a better place, which I currently use in some of my economics essays regarding those topics.
Yeah. Do you find there's anything from having attended the dialogue and heard from some business leaders and policy, are there things you've incorporated into your studies at all and related it back to your own subjects that you're studying?
I mean, we both are like economics students, and I'm like an economics major, so our course kind of requires us to use like real world examples to get like higher marks. So attending that event, we were able to gather like so much material and resource to get us those marks for exams, especially because like finals are coming. It's like really important that we have those kind of examples to use, like real world examples.
Yeah. Was that your case studies just ticked
Yeah.
off? Wow, now I've got 50 case studies. Yeah, incredible. How would you say the same, Andre?
Same thing, as I mentioned before, as Manan said, I use that knowledge that I got from sustainability dialogue in my economics essays. Brilliant. In both paper 1 and paper 2, because I'm a SL student, so like my particular major.
Brilliant. Do you know what? That's a huge success for the sustainability dialogue, I'd say, and that's the idea of it, I think. So yeah, huge thumbs up for the dialogue, and I'm glad that you had that takeaway as well. Looking into your future plans, so you've heard from a range of different topics. Has attending the sustainability dialogue changed the way you think about what you might want to study or work in the future at all?
Yeah, I mean, for one of the courses I applied, it was like related to taxation. I kind of thought, you know, I want to partake in like policies to help the environment, like those carbon taxes and like regulations on how many emissions and licenses for businesses. I kind of want to help because it's like a growing market as well. I think I want to partake in it. It sounds really interesting for me.
Yeah, fantastic.
Me personally, I applied to finance programs across many universities that I mentioned before, and the ideas of environmentally friendly financing, green financing, that you don't invest in the stocks that are going to just bring you the profit, that you invest in stocks that are going to be better in long term, make our planet a better place.
Incredible. Love to hear it, and I think great inspiration, and I think, we definitely look into the youth of today and yourselves going in and taking that knowledge and applying it to your working futures. It's going to be so important. Would you say then, if we zoom out, what's your opinion around climate change, sustainability in general with the world, right? It's quite an interesting topic. Do you have any views about where you see sustainability and climate change currently?
I think it's an ongoing problem that we encounter every day. And I think that more and more people are getting to know about this problem and trying to fixing, starting from just single citizen to the huge corporations or even governments, like the creation of new policies in Europe, in Singapore, and other countries all across the globe. I think we need to fight it because we have just one Earth and no other. So we need to care about it, care about our home. So we need to think about it in our everyday lives.
Yeah, fantastic answer. I completely agree. We'll come to you, Manan.
I think climate change and like sustainability is really, really being prioritized across the globe. I mean, down to our case studies and our exams, it's like, I've heard that Netherlands is using subsidies for like electric vehicles, and they've successfully like reduced their carbon emissions in that country. And I think even Singapore is going ahead with that movement as well. I think we're kind of progressing, but slowly, and it's kind of being heard everywhere, like all across the news as well. I think it's like a positive change for us, and yeah, everyone should be aware about it.
Go for it.
In addition to Manan's words, many governments and all across the world are making better conditions on electric vehicle car and therefore reducing emissions. For example, in Singapore, if I'm not mistaken, if you have electric vehicle, you don't need to pay for parking or some kind of, like, you have reduced tax on your vehicle, something like that.
Correct.
Or you get a discount for a vehicle.
Correct.
So in Singapore and other countries, they're promoting making our Earth once again a better place.
Yeah. Well, with the backdrop of the geopolitical situation at the moment and with everything that's happening worldwide, I think it's really reassuring to hear your optimism about the future and that you think there are solutions, which I would agree with. And I think it's a case of applying those solutions, right? And you've named a number of them, and so those opportunities and initiatives do exist. How, just maybe going a bit further on that topic, do you see that there's a bit of a difference in perspective between maybe your parents' generation or an older generation and yourselves and your peers around sustainability as a topic?
I don't think that maybe 30, maybe 20 years ago, people really thought about sustainability. So when I encountered something, I told my parents, for example, me and my dad are bringing bottles for recyclement in our nearby mall. So we just don't throw it away, we recycle it, and maybe once again making our Earth a better place, more clean place, less waste.
Yeah, great example. Manan?
I think, honestly, because it's being talked about so much, the older generation and the newer generation are kind of conscious about it at the same length, I'd say, because I haven't seen much difference.
Great to hear. And yeah, hope that we can teach old dogs new tricks as well, I think. That's also great to hear. I like the optimism. Would you have a message at all for any other students and around sustainability and your involvement in this project? And would there be any encouragement to other students?
Can I start?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Jump in, yeah.
So I think, once again, we don't have another Earth. We need to care about it. We need to make actions that add up in the future. They're becoming something big, like every day. We, for example, me and my dad are recycling bottles. Maybe like in Singapore, it's okay. Singapore is a perfect example of a perfect world when everybody cares about the environment. But maybe in other countries, like my other peers, should not throw bottles just on the side of the road. They just shouldn't like, throw gums, like stick it to any like various places. So they need to pay attention to their actions that they do every day, and maybe once again make our Earth a better place.
Fantastic, and I like your examples as well. It's true, right? It's empowering. People can do things as individuals and communities as well. Yeah. And you, Manan?
I think borrowing from Andre's point, because our generation is like so present and active on like social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok, I feel like they could really leverage off those platforms to kind of communicate to each other about like strategies, because I think we're kind of growing up and we're going to take over like jobs and things. We're going to have to like drive our society forward. I feel like using social media would really help us to kind of spread news and like strategies on how to be more conservative about how much resources we're using, because as Andre said, we only have one Earth and scarcity exists. So we're gonna run out of materials if we don't like think carefully soon or later.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it needs new thinking, right? Some of the systems we've got have created some of what's happening in terms of climate change. So I think new thinking, new technology, new ways of bringing people around a topic, like you mentioned social media, I think that is really powerful, and things that, you know, the youth coming through and taking over the workforce, as you said, is going to be really important to tackling the issue. So yeah, great points, both of you. Maybe just to finish on, where do you sit in terms of sustainability towards the future, in terms of climate change, global warming, and the big topic of sustainability? Are you optimistic, and what makes you optimistic looking into the future?
Okay, once again, start. I think it's an opportunity. I think there is a huge market gap in various like organizations that not yet adopted the sustainability within their operations. So I think if businesses will employ more sustainability into their actions, it will bring them maybe more profits in the long term. And with support of various governments with their subsidies, it will become a huge business opportunity. So yeah, I think in upcoming years, once again, it will become a bigger topic, and eventually people will start to care about Earth even more and make it a better place, and not make it a huge waste. Yeah, huge piece of waste.
Yeah. Great words. Loved your thinking.
I mean, I agree with Andre, and I'm also quite optimistic because it's, again, a huge market gap. Like, even STEM-focused individuals to art-focused individuals can partake in this kind of field because it's sustainability. And, I mean, we can use technology, but we can also use, like, art to be a little bit creative of our strategies on how to, like, improve the Earth in like a sustainable way and like conserve our resources. I think a lot of people will be able to benefit from this growing concern, but also it's not just an area of benefit, it's also something that we should be a little bit not scared, but like aware of. I think it's something that we can deal with if we start now rather than like later when it's too late. I feel like there will be hope. There is hope. Yeah. Great.
Love the optimism from both of you, and great to hear, I think, practical solutions and suggestions as well. I think that's it for questions. Thank you so much, Manan and Andre, joining us here in the middle of exam season. Thanks for joining us for this BritCham podcast. You heard about the Sustainability Dialogue from last September. The Sustainability Dialogue will be going ahead this September in 2025. So please do join us there, and look out for the next generation of Westbourne College attendees as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the British Chamber of Commerce Singapore's podcast channel. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating and review on Spotify, Apple, Google, and other podcast platforms. If you enjoyed this episode, please spread the word by sharing it across your network. For more information about the Chamber and what we do, visit our website at www.britcham.org.sg and tune in next time for a brand new episode.